Hello.
Hey.
How's everyone doing today? How are you guys doing?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I don't think Chris slept very well.
Yeah, you should have slept better.
Difficult decisions to make in our lives.
Oh, yeah.
So, a few things we should cover. Last week, we skipped Atheist Sunday School because MythCon was on Saturday, the night before, and it was so much work setting up all that stuff and, you know, going to all these different places and meeting all these different people and just the setup and sitting around at the table, socializing and stuff.
We met some cool people, though.
We did. We will make a video later giving like our accounts of the conference because a lot of people have their own ideas, and I know that we do have the video up. This is Milwaukee does have the video of the conference up, but people don't get the full scope.
Yeah.
So since we were actually there, we can give our accounts and maybe a more objective view of what happened, because a lot of
Stuff.
a lot of what's being said isn't necessarily accurate.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we were really atheisted out that weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We took a break from atheism, I suppose.
We couldn't handle it. It was like an atheist Easter or something. I mean, come on.
I suppose it would be as if you went through all of the trials and traditions of a religion for their major holiday, but for atheism, and then you're like, oh man, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
so
good.
we literally did it for nothing, right?
Yeah.
No reason.
We didn't do it
Just
for
a negative stance.
just a negative stance.
It was a lot of stuff though, so we were like, fuck it, we're not up for, you know, more Bible readings and shit atheists do.
And I think we're still recovering from all that in some ways.
This week has been kind of hellish.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about that probably in an independent video later.
Yes.
Yes.
Back
That
to
will
Genesis.
happen.
Probably.
Definitely.
Yeah. Maybe even today. Who
No.
knows?
We're still in Genesis.
Yeah.
We're covering Genesis chapters 15, 16, and 17 today. Still using the King James Bible. And so let's start with chapter 15. Hold on.
Shut up.
Something in my throat. Alright. Chapter 15. So this is Genesis 15:1, King James Version. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward.
Wow.
Your exceeding great reward.
So he's going to defend you, and you're going to get a bonus for being his friend later.
No, he is the bonus.
He is the bonus. He is the exceeding great reward.
Oh,
so
he's
beyond great.
Yeah.
Wow. They
Yeah.
that word, exceeding.
So here, Abram gets a vision, and I don't think that did the Lord appear to Abram outside of a vision?
Yeah, I think that was the first time.
We had said
He
God
actually
had shown up
appeared.
in person, really, was with Abram.
Right.
So now
here
he's
just
having a
coming
vision.
to him in visions, and so the vision can be anything. That can be a hallucination or a dream or like some kind of magical practice that they had, like scrying into a crystal ball, right?
Not necessarily
Abram the mage.
But
So I think it's interesting. I'd mentioned last night we were talking, and I talked about the Upanishads, and the Upanishads being more of manuals on how to do certain meditations, at least the earliest ones, right? And here they kind of go for the same thing. So they're like, there are these religious experiences that you can have. You can have visions of God.
Yeah.
But the focus in the Bible is never on teaching you how to do that. So they don't actually, so far, I don't think there's been a single thing that could even possibly be tested.
No, yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could test it against your own ideas.
Although later, when we get into Leviticus, I think, they do try out some medicinal stuff. You know, with the birds and the blood curing leprosy.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't work.
No.
No, I wouldn't think that it would.
No, you like kill a bird and then you dip another bird.
Hey, don't
into that
skip
bird's
ahead,
blood.
man. We haven't got to that point yet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited to get to those 500
But
pages in.
basically, you do a bird sacrifice and then you're magically healed or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in this case, we don't know how he summoned God so
No,
that
God
could.
appeared to him.
In a vision.
Yeah, it was on God's. It was
Well,
God's
it
decision.
says the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. So he doesn't
Okay.
even appear, it's just what he's saying.
Okay.
Right. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? So where'd Damascus come?
He's
Same place
complaining.
Egypt came from.
Okay, he's
Yeah.
complaining that he
doesn't have any children.
he doesn't have kids, and his steward, his like maid, I guess, of the house, is from a different place, and he's upset about that. I guess I don't know.
Wow, what a racist.
Yeah, I mean,
Presumably this Eliezer doesn't believe in Abram's religious views.
oh.
Well, let's read on.
Well,
Find out.
I'm glad they introduced us to Damascus in such an elegant and well thought out manner.
Right.
This is
Right.
really nice.
They're also heretics, basically, is what they're saying. The Egyptians were heretics,
Yeah.
and these Damascus people who we're mentioning are also heretics, right?
The thing is, Damascus becomes very important in the New Testament,
Mhm.
and I'm guessing that's an allusion to the Old Testament because the people who wrote the New Testament did that a lot.
Yeah.
They always like tried to take Old Testament stories and make them new and improved.
Well, it makes
Stuff.
sense
New
because
and
the first
improved.
place that we have
Like
in
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so much better than Vampire Hunters and Abraham Lincoln separately.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because the first place that we're introduced to as an outside force is Egypt, and we all know that the first super great hero of the Judeo-Christian religions is Moses.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire Jewish religion is entirely founded around Moses.
Yeah.
So the second place that pops up, which is outside of these people, is Damascus. And if Damascus plays a major role in the New Testament, then that only makes, narrative sense.
Yeah.
All right. And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. Oh, no, his Eliezer has a child, and if Abram doesn't have a kid, then since that was the first person born to his house, he would get the inheritance. All right.
But it's not his kid.
It's not his kid, but it is his, slave's kid.
Well, because why couldn't she just get it? Why couldn't Eliezer just get it?
Eliezer?
Yeah.
I think Eliezer's a boy. I think. I don't know.
I don't
have no
know.
idea.
That's
Not a clue.
difficult. If you guys know,
Yeah.
let us know.
If you guys know who Eliezer is supposed to be.
We'll
Boy or
probably
girl?
find out later, honestly.
Yeah.
Brought him forth, it says. So that might help.
Oh, no,
No, that's
not
totally
there yet.
different.
All right. So, and behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir.
Okay, so
Guy
God's
gets
all like, hey, he's pretty much saying you're going to have a kid.
Yeah.
that is inappropriate. You see, he's a male, and they thus cannot bear children. But he's saying it'll
Shut up,
come
Chris.
from his bowels. That's disgusting. That's kind of monster child is God making today.
And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. So Abram's descendants will be
as numerous as the
stars.
stars. I think this gets rephrased in different versions of the Bible, because I've heard it said as your offspring shall be as plentiful or numerous as the stars. I've heard it also as shall succeed the earth as the stars, and then some other ones too. So
yeah, and I think that it was even mentioned once before.
Yeah, I'm sure he used the phrasing like that before, because he likes to say, and your offspring shall inherit the earth. He likes to say that so far. And we're only like on page 10. So, he says that quite frequently, considering.
Page 10.
Yeah.
And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. So Abram is like, yeah, I believe you. And he said unto him, I am the Lord, that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. So this kind of phrasing pops up in a lot of Jewish prayers. And it's usually in reference to Egypt, right? And they probably do have the same phrasing after they do get to Egypt. I am your Lord who led you out of Egypt. But now he's actually giving Abram the first real reason to follow him, right? He's like, yeah, you owe me. I helped you out when you guys went into battle, and if it weren't for me, you guys would have been screwed.
This is really annoying to me in general, because he's always capable of determining the outcome anyways, and he gets the final say in it anyways. Why does he even have to talk to this guy? If he's like, oh yeah, I love these people, then why isn't he just helping them without talking?
To make sure everybody else knows how great he is.
I don't know, it seems like already there are people who have no idea how great he is, and they just had the flood, so it's like maybe people are really dumb, or they're assuming a lot.
He needed it to be written down, because if it wasn't, then he would be doing floods every fucking generation.
Well, it seems like he may as well. It's not working out again.
Things are going bad. He should really fix this.
All right. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me a heifer of 3 years old. What's a heifer?
A heifer.
Heifer.
That's a cow, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like a young cow.
Okay, a young cow. 3-year-old cow. And a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon.
See, so, that's ultra specific.
Are we playing Cooking Mama or something?
Yes, let's see what happens.
And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. When the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him.
Oh man, night's scary, huh?
A horror of great darkness.
Yeah.
Presumably this is different than just night.
I know, but I liked playing light at it.
So
maybe it's a nightmare?
Maybe. Perhaps. Is this all within the vision? Still, right?
No, is this within the vision?
It might be, because it opens up with the vision. And knowing the Old Testament writers' lines...
And he brought forth. See here, up to here I don't know, and then there's this disconnect.
Well, I think up to here, where he gives them the ritual instructions of these animals, right? So at Genesis 15:10, that might be the point at which we're saying it's no longer a vision. He is actually doing this. They're just leaving out the fact that he is no longer visioning.
Well, I think we should
because
keep
it
reading,
does say
and he
took unto him all these, and so he does it. They're not clear as to whether.
Well, right, it's not clear. So it could also mean that he took it to him in this vision.
Well, looking ahead, they never actually say he stopped having the vision at any point.
Well, yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's implied that he does this. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. So this great horror of great darkness is conscious. It's talking to Abram, and it's trying to get him to go against God's will. So this is like the first, like, Lucifer kind of type, right? Because it says he said unto him, but it doesn't capitalize it like they do with God.
Right.
So it's some kind of outside mystical creature.
All right.
This is bizarre because
So
far, to me, what's been well defined has been what's been good. And some of the what's been bad has been shunned by God, but none of the darkness, light is good, darkness is bad, none of the darkness has shown itself other than in humans. Now, what are we seeing?
Now, yeah.
What are we seeing
horror
now?
of great darkness. So I think
that's what we're seeing.
When the universe is created, light and darkness is the first thing that's divided. Well, that would imply that there is some kind of equivalent to what is light
yeah.
within what is dark, and this is like basically just someone from the dark universe, right?
Or from the dark half of the universe, or he's from the dark part of the universe.
Yeah, why do you guys got to be so certain it's half? I bet there's way more dark than light. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Welcome to our universe, where when you look out into the night sky with that stupid glowing thing doesn't obscure your vision.
Seems pretty bright out there.
Seems like there's not a lot going on.
Seems like there's a lot of light.
Yeah, lots of little dots of them.
And also,
really far away.
He's not wrong about what he says. His children will be strangers in a land that they know nothing about. He is right about that. And that's like how human tribes worked back then.
So what is
they
this?
would just enslave each other.
What does this darkness say?
So this darkness says that, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and
Careful.
afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the antiquity of the Amorites is not yet full. What the hell does that mean?
What kind of cryptic nonsense is this?
This is like...
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
More
foreshadowing.
Five-shadowing.
Well, okay. Specifically, your kids are going to be strangers and they're going to serve other people. And those people will be judged, and afterwards your descendants will come out with great substance. So they'll be rich. And
Or
They're
smart.
going to do really well when they get out of there.
and you're going to die in old age in peace. But your
Kids.
kids,
Great-grandkids.
shall come hither again. So they're going to come back to the same point where they are physically
Yes.
at that moment.
Yes.
In 4 generations.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad we went through that, because honestly, when you read that the first time, I don't know what he meant.
Well, is that maybe saying foreshadowing for Egypt, where?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is all this dark horror talking to him, right?
Horror of great darkness.
Horror of great darkness.
OP.
Yeah. Let's
Wish
see
they
if we
described-
see more of that.
I wish they described anything better at all.
The horror of great darkness is probably the most interesting thing that's popped up so far.
I
Yeah,
have
definitely.
to agree. We'll make some gifs about it or something like that.
It's just gonna
Favorite
be
character in the Bible?
It's just
Horror of Great Darkness.
It's just gonna be
Just a cool name.
just a dark screen.
Yeah.
If you make a GIF out of it.
I know.
Maybe, and I'm reaching here, but these are desert tribes who presumably have not gone very far into Africa. When they refer to darkness in people who speak, could they be referring to black
Are
people?
they just racist?
It's possible. I don't think so.
I don't either because I know.
Because they did see.
I don't know. I don't know. That's what I know.
Because I am assuming that these early desert tribes were very racist, and if they saw a black person, they would be freaked out.
Maybe.
I have no idea.
I also don't assume any of those things, but I don't assume not.
I mean, the thing is.
Well, they've literally labeled everyone outside of them as like bullshit.
Yeah, but if you do
so
do the research, you'll realize that the ancient Egyptians who originally lived in the area were black.
Yeah.
They weren't just the hybrid Greek offspring.
Yeah.
That came much later. The original Egyptians were black, and they had darker skin.
So when they refer to Egyptians throughout, presumably the borders of Egypt have changed a lot over time from
Yes.
Genesis.
Yeah.
So could they possibly be referring to more of Africa? Like a lot more?
I don't think so, because the area that they were confined to is still a good chunk of it is still Egypt, and then like Israel and Palestine. Jordan.
What if they just got it wrong and it wasn't Egypt? Because Egypt has zero record of that happening. There's no understanding
I understand.
of that event.
I'm talking about in the mythology of this.
Okay. Okay, I see.
Well, also there are those Ethiopian Jews, right?
Yes.
And presumably they had to pop up at some point.
Wasn't Ethiopia one of the places actually listed?
Ethiopia was listed as one of the quarters of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did that include Egypt?
Was Ethiopia considered part of Egypt? But
No. I mean, like,
these,
did they touch? Did they have to have a
in that
border?
time, I have no idea.
Man.
or even just by this tribe who wrote this book?
Yeah, considered that way.
Because usually, I don't know the geographical landscape of Ethiopia, but the reason, like Egypt particularly, the reason they did so successfully is they had water basically on two sides, and then a huge-ass desert on the other side.
Yeah.
It's really hard to invade Egypt. They were very safe because of the environment they were in.
Yeah.
Well,
And their environment, they pretty much had control over that entire place because, there weren't like definite borders.
Yeah.
It was just kind of,
Well, sometimes there
here's
were.
a mountain, and that mountain is our border.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Sometimes there were definite
It was
ones.
very vague.
but if Egypt refers to more of Africa than what we traditionally think of Egypt as, then future events like Moses wandering in a desert for 40 years start to make a little more sense because he's just been wandering around Africa trying to figure out
That's a
where
great
to
point
go.
because there's a huge belt in Africa, that is desert. Most of the center, the Saharan, Sub-Saharan
I
desert
think-
is massive.
Yes.
If you could wander anywhere for 40 years, it would be the Saharan, Sub-Saharan desert.
Yes, I think.
Book a tourist trip now.
I think they actually do name. They might name a city in Egypt.
They may say Cairo at one point. I think that's
they
the
might,
one
or
I've
like
heard.
something about the Nile. I don't know.
Well, that's just a river.
Well, they talk about the Nile a lot.
In the Bible.
They bring it up more than a few times as a marker for where Egypt is.
Okay.
We should go back to this
if they
terrifying
were-
darkness.
Because the thing is, the big cities
Horrifying.
where you would need slaves would be around the Nile, because that's the only place that could have been actually sustainable for big cities to pop up around. They needed that water source.
Yeah.
So if they were in Egypt, even if Egypt was fucking huge, it would have been around the Nile. It would have been like Cairo or Giza. Like it would have been right along there. So it doesn't take fucking 40 days to walk. There was somebody that did a Google Maps thing where like they had like, like
Moses
Israel
was very lost, okay?
really lost. This is
You know, people go in circles when they're
but
lost.
God was leading them though.
And people are easily
circles.
suggestible.
In circles.
Yeah.
Actually,
This was the trial. That was their trial.
Later on,
Walking
A
around in
bunch
the
of people
desert
died.
for 40 years.
later
Same
on,
desert.
they do specifically mention that God was purposely misleading them in
Yeah.
the desert.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So I think that might be a big factor.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if they saw the same 16 locations. Somebody's at my door. I can't really do anything about
You can
that.
go get that.
I can go get that?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well,
please
we'll-
excuse my...
We'll continue on to the end of the chapter, basically.
Yeah. We don't need Chris anyways.
No, not at all. It's just the tech guy.
All right.
Give us a hashtag fuck Chris in the chat.
Hashtag fuck Chris.
Hashtag fuck Chris.
Yep. All right. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace, and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. The Kenites and the Kenizzites and the Cadmonites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Rephaim and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Girgashites and the Jebusites.
Huh. Interesting. So he says that entire area. like-
Everything that they own is now his descendants' property.
Okay. That is gotcha.
Yeah.
But what's the
So-
blazing furnace referred to?
So the furnace and the burning
Is that
lamp
just-
is
is that
probably
just-
one of those altar exercises that I talked about before, where you're burning frankincense and myrrh and other kinds of plants in order to create a hallucinogenic experience, right? That's my main thing. Yeah, you didn't miss much. Basically,
You know-
all it says is all these guys' lands is now Abram's descendants.
It's like that's all yours now.
Yeah.
Wow. This must be like when God was in his Oprah phase. He's like, and you get some land, and you get some land, and
Yeah.
these guys suck, okay?
All right. Chapter 16. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she was a handmaid, an Egyptian. She had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. Hagar.
I feel like
now we get into the
Hagar.
interesting stuff.
also, somehow, this is the first time I can go, oh, I recognize this because I've heard it so many
This
times.
is the first time.
Yeah, no, before that I haven't heard, very much of those parts read over and over again. There were certain parts that my family dwelled on and like the church that I went to really liked to read over and over. I heard this one a bunch. I can tell immediately from the first two lines. Just
Okay.
going, oh man, I had heard that so many times. Fuck, I forgot about that. I was so happy I did. Anyways, please continue with this already blueprinted thing in my head.
Well, yep.
Alright.
It's gonna be fresh in your memory now.
Yep. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai.
Okay, so she's like, "Hey, go fuck my maid," and he's like, "All right then."
I mean,
Sounds
there was
good to
there
me.
was go in onto my maid is pretty much just what you said
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
The phrasing's not even like trying to hide it. It's just
No, it's
yeah,
just like,
go-
fuck
go.
the maid.
That's-
And get her pregnant.
that's
Do
bad,
it.
man.
Yeah, so it can be my
Man,
kid.
when I was a kid, I had no idea what that part meant.
Wow.
I don't think.
I mean, kid,
I
like 6.
I still don't think you have an idea.
Very funny. Anywho,
All right. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. So this is his second wife.
So he marries the handmaid,
Yeah,
Hagar.
yeah.
Okay.
And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judge between me and thee. So basically she's just like, oh, I regret letting you fuck the maid.
I mean, and having a kid with the maid too, I
Yeah,
guess.
even though like that was the thing she wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it took her like 9 months to figure out what she really wanted.
yeah. Alright. But Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. So basically, Abram's like, look, she's
Phrasing.
your maid. You do what you want. You can take care of this.
This is
I'm
BoJack
outta here."
Horseman right now.
Yeah. And Sarai goes and beats the shit
Probably,
out
yeah.
of Hagar, and Hagar runs away.
Out of the face. She's just like, get out of my face. But it's the other way around.
Yeah.
I'm out of your face. It's weird phrasing.
And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to shore.
Hold on. This is real important. We've got darkness incarnate and angels. Where did these start coming from?
Were they named by Adam?
Angels?
Yeah.
I mean, not specifically.
Were they talked about before this at all? Have angels been brought up?
Have they? I don't remember.
I remember the guys, not the angels, the other one, the Nephilim, they brought up.
Yeah.
But they didn't bring up angels yet. So this is the first time an angel's showing up, at least. That's written about a specific instance of it, so
Yeah.
that's weird.
And also, this great darkness, that's not something which is named by Adam, which
Right,
explains
right.
why it doesn't have a name,
Right.
right?
It has existed before Adam.
Right.
Oof.
And also, with the horror of great darkness, if it is from the dark part of the universe, that's a fucking alien.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. This is an alien
It
story.
could be an
You know- you know-
extra dimensional alien, but not.
And here's the thing. You could say it's an alien, but then Supernatural has its own take on it.
Well, that's
Because
nice.
they talk about the darkness as being God's sister,
Oh,
but it's a he, so it'd be God's brother. But their interpretation is like familial relationship.
I see.
Yeah. So that's another possibility.
Well,
Yeah.
let's go on with this
Well, I
angel.
could support that more Gnostic demiurge type.
Right.
All right, and so there's this angel, and they give a location by the fountain in the way to shore, which means nothing to us now because we're not a desert tribe.
Who knows the specific fountain on the way to shore?
Yeah. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence camest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude.
What?
So basically, it's like, no, go back, keep getting the shit beaten out of you,
And having
and
more
get
kids.
more kids.
But,
This is the worst angel I've ever met.
yeah.
So this beautiful, peaceful, tranquil being floats down above a fountain and lands next to this lady and says, Hi, I'm an angel.
Well, it's
Go
important.
back and get beaten and have more children.
Yeah.
What?
Well, it's important because this is where Islam starts, right? So Hagar.
I thought Islam
gets-
started with the angel Gabriel.
I don't know. This angel
This guy.
gives Hagar the same promise.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the same promise that was given to Abram.
And a blessing, because you know what that
That's
means.
a blessing. Yeah, that means.
And the blessing.
You can have more kids.
Yep.
Yay!
You can have kids.
What a blessing.
Yep. Kill me.
Mm-hmm. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
So he's gonna be a fucking warrior.
Well, it's going to be him against the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, which kind of explains the modern Islamic mindset within the more extremist factions, right? Because the foundation of Islam comes from Ishmael, and Ishmael is literally taking the stance where he's like, "Oh, fuck everyone else,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's interesting because then I know in Islam Muhammad was a conqueror too, probably paralleling Ishmael.
We should
Just-
do the Quran eventually.
We should.
I thought that was next on
That
our
was next.
itinerary.
That is
after
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 the Bible.
the
Bible.
Bible, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah,
know.
we'll get there.
we'll get there eventually.
After my first quadrilogy of best-selling books, I've got plans for the next one. What are you nuts? Finish the first quadrilogy. Come on.
Yeah. All right. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her. Thou God seest me, for she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me?
What?
I didn't get that.
Hold
Say
on.
that again.
That one's weird.
That was very strange.
Oh, okay. I think this is like a confirmation with God, right? So she's making confirmation not with the angel, but with God. She speaks directly to God saying, you see this shit? Yo, you better make good on it, right?
Maybe that was very strangely.
Try that by us one more
more
time.
time.
And she called the name of the Lord that
Yes.
spake unto her.
Yeah.
Thou, God, seest me. So you,
See
God,
me.
who are seeing me.
Yeah.
For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? So it's a reference, have I also witnessed God now,
Oh, okay.
right? Wherefore the well was called Bir Laharoi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. Kadesh,
Yes, Kadesh.
yes.
That was that was an Egyptian fort, I guess, like kind of like Fort Knox today. And yeah, I did a video on the Battle of Kadesh between the Egyptians and the Hittites.
So angels were commanded to guard the entrance of the Garden of Eden. Yeah, I remember that. I think specifically they say that he guards it with cherubim. Okay, he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life.
And if you consider well, there are two types of cherubim. There's the kind that you're all familiar with,
The
which are
cherubs.
the fat little angel dudes.
The little angel babies.
And that was more or less a correction on the church's behalf because they didn't want to have these other interpretations of what a cherubim is, which is a beast with a head of an eagle, a head of a lion, a head of a ram, and a head of a human.
I think that's something else.
No, that's the cherubim.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. Joseph and I did this together.
I know you guys did that video.
Yeah,
I swear that was something else.
and no, it has 6 wings as well. So.
No, that's something else.
Oh no, that's the seraphim.
Yes.
That's different than a cherub. cherubim.
Cherubim, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
seraphim, yeah.
so yeah, I think it still has wings though somewhere on there. I don't know because
Probably.
it's an eagle as well.
Got 4 faces and
Yeah, and it's terrifying.
Well,
so
presumably these desert tribes would know what that looks like
Yeah.
from experience.
I mean, honestly, which
It's like
is
these things are just everywhere.
yeah,
These 4-faced flying motherfuckers
and flaming swords.
and flaming swords.
Well, you know, imagining that you run into like a big wild animal and it kills like 5 people that, you know, you might be traumatized to the point where you remember it looking like something terrifying like that.
Or, and hear me out on this, you've seen 4 animals and you've done drugs. Those might mix together.
Yeah.
You have
burned,
seen
an offering, right? And you just like,
Oh!
Wait,
man.
Hold on.
Wait. Okay. So remember when Abram grabs all those different animals and he cuts them up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he keeps birds away.
The birds, go away and shit. But they totally could have been doing some kind of like sewing together of parts, like
Stitching.
yeah,
Wow.
Well, he did say that he laid their pieces against each other.
yeah.
Yeah, that could be interpreted many ways, actually. Weird stuff. I don't know if they have, like, ghoul stitchers and grafters in the Bible, but geez, that's
Now they do.
pretty,
No, I'm kidding.
it's pretty sick.
No, that would be a lot of extrapolation. We can't read into it that much.
Yeah.
All right. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. So, this is confirmed to her because she doesn't name him Ishmael. The angel said that Ishmael would be his name, but she doesn't name him Ishmael. Abram names him Ishmael.
Yeah.
And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram.
86.
86.
That's old.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, it is absolutely. Yeah.
It's just less likely or possible. Less possible.
All right.
It's just as possible, Chris.
Fine, I'll use better phrasing.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me, and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him.
Abram fell on his face,
Well, he
and God...
prostrates himself, right?
Oh, I was really envisioning the poor guy just flat,
So
Just
he's
flopping
Face-
99 years old,
and he just falls.
and God has not yet delivered his end of the bargain.
Yeah.
Right? And here he's appearing and saying, all right, this is it, man. Let's do this shit. All right. And God talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
Still?
Yeah. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For father of many nations have I made thee.
Okay. So, he's getting his name changed, and apparently this is a big thing.
Yeah.
It's something really significant for him and a huge change. Well, why is he getting his name changed?
He is now the progenitor of nations. And
Wasn't
so,
he told to be that already?
Yeah, but I'm sure.
Why is that different
I'm
now?
sure the name Abraham means something different in Hebrew or something. You know how they do like stuff with the letters?
It's literally Abram with ha added in, right? So it's probably some kind of honorific, like sir.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. You're the dude that knows Hebrew.
I don't know that much Hebrew.
You know more than us.
Yeah.
Which means we will look to you for guidance.
Yeah. Hi, slightly literate person. We're illiterate.
All right. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee.
So last time God made a covenant was with Noah.
Yeah.
And he gave him a rainbow. What does he get? He gets a new name?
Oh,
it's
you'll
getting into that.
Okay.
you'll
You'll see.
I wish you got a rainbow.
It
Those
gets juicy,
Ooh.
Yeah.
literally.
Oh. Now I don't know where it's going at all. All right, keep going.
Okay. So, everlasting covenant. And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man-child among you shall be circumcised.
But only man-childs. So regular men are fine and children are fine. But
Male children.
I was joking.
Male children.
I was
Right.
joking.
It was a bad joke.
He said man-child. Come on, that's hilarious.
Yeah, lots of My Little Pony fans getting circumcised.
Oh man, that's great.
But
That sucks for a good chunk of our friend group.
okay. And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you.
So you know that extra flesh on the tip of your penis? I want that so that we're friends. What? That doesn't work. That's horrible.
It's true love.
I don't understand.
I'm kidding.
This is clearly
it's fucking stupid.
more ancient traditions being pushed. And I think, if you lived in the desert, and you didn't clean that frequently, it's just a convenience thing as far as I know. I don't understand it otherwise. Why do they need to convey this?
I don't know. It's a covenant with their magical sky daddy.
Yeah.
It's the deal. For
It's the deal.
For them to rule this area, they have to do this.
So this is like the New Deal
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
the Great Depression, but
Yes.
but for God and Abraham?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so happy we get to read about this nonsense. Please continue.
All right. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you. So
8 days old.
as soon as you're 8 days old, you get circumcised.
Well, Lawrence, that sounds like your favorite type of Serbian film over there.
Every man, child in your generations, he that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant.
So even the slaves.
Yeah.
The slaves and any... what's really interesting here?
Anyone they do business with, maybe, even?
No, like adopted children.
Yeah.
Adopted
slaves.
children.
It seemed like
marriages in the family.
They say marriages?
Well, presuming that they're part of the family at that point, they're part of the house.
Everyone in your house, that's right.
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting how far, people have gone from that. First of all, God's already pretty much saying slavery is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buying people is fine. That is what God is saying.
Yeah, as long as they're circumcised.
No, you have to circumcise them.
Oh, yeah, you have to circumcise them. So basically, you're like, hey, I'll buy that one. Hey, come over here. Take your pants off.
Oh.
All right.
Welcome
Have a
to the
nice day.
family.
Welcome.
Welcome to the family.
Jeez, that's brutal.
Yes.
All right. Well,
And the thing is, I actually think this part is really overlooked. Because whenever talking about...
how early on it is.
Yeah.
I didn't
know,
realize
I know.
how early on that was.
Yeah, no, this part about the buying people, whenever talking about slavery and the Bible, people always point to like Leviticus because God specifically condones slavery and tells you how you can buy and sell slaves, how you should treat them, and how you can beat them in it's okay as long as they don't die within a couple days. Like, there's a lot of rules. Obviously, condone slavery. This thing is much earlier, and it is often looked over.
And it's
just like
assuming slavery.
Yeah, it's a passing thing that God is like, yeah, when you buy somebody.
Yeah. So slavery is just like, yeah, it happens. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like
it's great.
It's massively.
It's great. It's great.
Ah, man. And so 8 days old, any stranger, anyone that is bought with your money, and the uncircumcised man-child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant.
Oh, wow.
Wow, is he taking this seriously? He's like, you're damned to hell if you don't...
No, he's just saying you're not allowed to even associate with your family or anyone if you're not doing it.
Exactly.
Well, aren't you damned, kind of, as well?
No, you're damned in the same way that, like, Cain was damned. Like...
Well, did Cain go to heaven?
Well, probably not, but...
Well, there you go!
Well, there is no heaven here.
Yeah, he's not talking about heaven. He's just saying soul as, like, the person.
Got it.
He should be, like, excommunicated.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's still pretty intense.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God said unto Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
Hooray.
So he's pretty much already setting up this huge schism. He's pretty much setting up... He's already got Ishmael from one woman, and then...
Hagar.
Yeah, from Hagar. And then another kid that will pretty much be at odds with that kid. It's... Because one of them is going to be...
They must have separate nations, separate kings.
Exactly, but they have to fight.
Yeah.
Because Ishmael's all like,
well,
fuck everybody else.
They've got to go after the inheritance, right? They need to inherit the blessing which was given to their father.
Even the darkness says that the fourth generation will come back to get that wealth.
Yeah.
So
but specifically, so you've got this covenant which is made. And up until this point, God's just been saying, this is what's going to happen if you follow everything that I say. And at this point, he says, all right, it's time for the shit to go down. Now follow everything that I say.
Yeah.
But Ishmael was born before the covenant.
Yeah.
So that's why the Jewish position would be that Ishmael wouldn't get the inheritance.
Was it born before the... Because he wasn't born here. He was just being... It was just said that he was going to be born.
No, it said he was born.
Did it?
Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael.
Right.
And they say conceived at some point, so that's definitely, he's alive.
Right.
And then when he's 99 later, yeah, you're right.
Right. So, and Ishmael is an inherently violent, and it's me against the world, right?
Yeah.
And his descendants are going to take over kingdoms. These descendants are going to take over kingdoms. This is the firstborn son, so traditionally he would get the inheritance of the father. But the holy inheritance, or divine inheritance, would be passed on through the covenant, which isn't something which is made with Ishmael. Now, presumably, Ishmael becomes circumcised at this point.
Yeah, because he's of the house.
Yeah. But he isn't born into that covenant.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, then I don't get... Never mind why he comes back and screws everything up, I guess.
Well, because he wants his father's inheritance, right?
Yeah, he's just a greedy jerk then.
Man, all this Jew, Muslim, hating each other stuff...
It's pretty old.
Starting to make sense now.
Pretty old stuff.
Really, pieces starting to come together.
Yeah.
All right, how are we doing?
Fucking
now?
religion,
Abram
man.
fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abram said unto God, O that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
As for Ishmael.
As for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham.
Okay.
So he ascends after talking with
Yeah.
Abraham. Also, I thought it was important to point out that the name Isaac translates to laughter. And so that's why he tells him to name his son Isaac, because he laughed in response to.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. And I guess he says Ishmael has my blessing to have a bunch of kids.
Yeah, but
Those kids are
also-
going to be princes, and he's going to have a great nation.
So he's already just, as we've spoken about before, he's already saying, pragmatically saying, there's going to be an all-out war
Yeah.
between these descendants.
Well, kind of.
Basically.
Pretty much. He's saying that Ishmael's descendants will be a bunch of princes.
A great nation, but always second to Isaac's descendants.
Yeah, but Ishmael will always want to fight.
Everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
So he's setting it up, playing this big little game of Risk. There is going to be war.
Now, I wonder in the Quran if when they bring up Ishmael being born to Hagar, if they mention that he's going to be a wild kid who is against everyone.
We shall see.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Someday in the very distant future.
In the very distant future.
of 24. 200.
In the year 2525.
Yeah, there you go.
And Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day, as God had said unto him. And Abram was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin.
That is some old stuff.
That is some old foreskin.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah.
And Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And in the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised as Ishmael his son. So they were
He did it
circumcised.
Yeah.
together,
So everyone
like a
was
real.
getting
It was
circumcised.
a real father-son bonding experience.
Gross.
Ugh. Ugh.
And all the men of his house, born in the house, and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him.
All right.
So
And
everyone got
was
circumcised at the same time and the same day.
Yes. Huh. Interesting. So I think after going through these chapters, everything is starting to make sense. The entire
Next part of the narrative is starting to.
well, no, I mean the entire landscape, the political landscape of the world is being set up here. Fuck religion.
Yeah.
Fuck religion so much. People are so convinced of their bullshit. Fucking ridiculous.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
hilarious. This is all hilarious.
This by itself, yes, it's absolutely hysterical.
This is a great fiction.
Yes, this is actually a very well-written fiction.
Yeah,
actually.
considering how old it is.
Except for all the begats, they could do without that.
I tell ya, Iron Age happened. Done. Come on, guys. Synopsis this
Yeah,
shit.
but when
Yeah.
when it comes to like foreshadowing and storytelling, it is all very well written.
Yeah.
And it gets way better when we get to the New Testament too, because
Also,
they will-
that's where God is. Oh, I get it now.
because then they are always trying to parallel the Old Testament.
Okay.
And it's always on purpose. Everything was written to push a certain agenda, and the readers of those New Testament texts in that time, they would all be in on it. Or not, at least like the first generation of Christians would have been in on it.
Also, there is no afterlife yet. There is no great reward.
Yeah, people just die.
Yeah, people just die. And none of those great religious, like, think about how the church presents itself. Oh, you got to believe in God or you're going to go to hell, right? Yeah. Don't you want to be in heaven with Jesus?
I don't know, man.
Don't you want to be with God forever? That is not promised at all at any point so far.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And you would figure that if that's the foundation of their theological position, like, here's why you should join our religion, then they would mention that pretty
Don't
early
burn in
on.
hell.
But we're already 18 chapters in.
So presumably there's already some sort of faith that this is meant to describe the origin story of it. But presumably there is already some sort of faith.
Well, it wasn't an oral tradition.
Right. And they didn't need that to be said yet.
So I think we're almost at an hour now, and we just finished reading.
Yeah.
So you guys should stay tuned. Maybe today or tomorrow we're going to make a video announcement about some stuff. We're probably going to have to talk about expanding a little. So
Yeah.
the Bible doesn't imply
I can't read from
Afterlife,
but eternal life.
Yeah, there's like the good Jews are going to be raised from the dead as zombies and inherit the earth like thing in Judaism.
That's true. They're not in hell, I guess.
Nah, and the hell, the only thing that hell is being separated from God, right? So you don't come back to life and inherit the earth, basically. That's your punishment. Oh
no.
I'll just
They don't really have
not
an
inherit the
explanation,
earth now anyways.
Uh,
All right, guys.
so did
anything
God
else?
make good on his promise?
Which one?
Well, did Abraham's descendants create a great many nations and rule over the earth?
No.
I don't know.
No.
The faith of his people, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, does cover a massive portion of the earth.
Right, but if we were to take, like, where the religions are, like, the head of nations,
Right.
like, there is a portion in the Middle East where Islam is the nation's religion.
Right.
And then, Israel and Palestine, that whole shindig going on. And then, off the top of my head, I can't think of a nation that is specifically Christian.
Oh, expand on the alien comments in upcoming readings.
Yeah, we could talk more about aliens. It is really interesting because God.
I'm writing a book.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
called
that's true.
An Alien Named Jesus.
That's
I'm
right.
editing it.
Yes, he is.
Yes. But God went up from Abraham, right? So
Yeah.
God ascends. That's the same like tractor beam thing, right? this horde of great darkness, right? That's an alien. That is something from out there.
That's a bad alien.
That's a
Good
bad alien.
No,
That's a good
that's a bad alien. He's the good.
They're
This
both.
guy came. He didn't do anything. He just said, "Look, man, I'm gonna warn you. Shit's going down in your life, and it's your fault. See ya. I'm darkness."
But he was a horror of great darkness.
Yes, because
Like
this
some
is
kind of
He was
Cthulhu
spooky,
type.
yes.
Yeah, he was just
Yes.
scary, but they're misunderstood. Come on.
Yeah.
Have you met any horrors recently? No. Well,
Yes.
they're shy. They're really shy. See, look how rarely they come out.
Yeah. But he does ascend, and every time he shows up, right, he's like, and then he's like, beam me up, Scotty.
Or he's got like a speaker, a megaphone for when his voice is somewhere, and he's like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr," in the megaphone, and that's how his voice walks in the garden, and that's how
Visions. How if
telepathic aliens.
telepathic aliens.
There you go, buddy.
Gotcha.
Done.
high frequency waves that are beamed from the spaceship directly into the brain of the person.
Yeah, just lasers into their eyes so they think they see stuff. But hey, that works. That's just how like Google Glass works.
He implants a microchip in Abram's brain.
That's right.
And that lets him communicate with him from then on, because he does show up for Abram. And presumably there would be a reason that he personally shows up. And that would be to implant a microchip in his brain that allows him to communicate with him from then on.
Yes, if we'd like to go off on the extreme end of alien speculation, we could make a lot of assertions about what things were.
Yeah.
Also, four-faced beings like the cherubim would be their own like species.
Those are alien experiments.
Those are alien experiments, right? Or God. God could be the alien here. So.
Well, God's definitely an alien.
You know, he's.
But here he says, "I will be their God." Right. So again, it's admitting that there are other gods.
Other gods,
if we're using this alien theory, then we're saying that there's like a mothership or something, and this alien is the one who's going to be put in charge of this planet, right?
Or just that part of the world.
We were going to do Christian Space Adventures at some point.
This is great, though.
This is pretty great, though. Now we understand why you could have done that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I think we're wrapping it up. Is there anything else you want to say, Lawrence?
Fuck it, we'll do this. All right.
No, we don't have to do that. I mean, we'll talk about that later. Just say we'll talk.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
Shut up, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, if you really love us. We do lots of stuff. You can...
Chat forums up on the website.
Yes.
So feel free and talk about whatever we're talking about.
Yeah,
let me know what kind of forums you want up there.
And feel free to shoot us your ideas on the website. We will be reading all of it. Unless it gets like ridiculously popular, where it gets to the point.
I don't think it's gonna get ridiculously popular.
But you
well, you guys can't read the futures.
Yeah, I can.
All right then.
And you can buy our T-shirts too.
Yeah.
We have good T-shirts.
Good T-shirts.
Yes.
All right.
With that,
we bid you adieu. Thanks for joining us. Oh no.